Hello, this is Erica Norton, and I'm the founder of Perfect Legal Video. And I have with us today attorney Nicole Reeves Lavallee. She owns a law firm that specializes in both family and real estate law. We are here today to talk about a real estate topic, titles gone wrong or missing or whatever, what have you. Welcome to the show today, Nicole.
Thanks for having me. This is one of those topics that really frustrates me as seller's attorney because I'm always doing the prior attorney's work.
Well, that makes sense because you really know what you're doing. And if someone's going to fix it, you are. I remember in my family case, the first time we went to court, there was a lawyer from another state, and they just didn't know the laws in Massachusetts. And you were constantly educating him and basically doing the work. And it was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, all right. That's one word for it, but it's very frustrating because I just wish that these attorneys would take things seriously. Their answer is, "Oh, we'll just write an indemnification and somebody else will take care of it." It doesn't fix the problem. Fix it so don't have to do this problem moving forward.
What spurred this topic on was a situation that I was telling you about. We're purchasing a home and we were actually delayed on the closing because the woman who was a real estate paralegal, and so she works in real estate law, is representing herself. And apparently they bought the house from the city who had bought the house when someone went bankrupt. And nobody made sure that there was a clean and clear title for us beforehand. And now we're heading into the closing without that. And we can't close without that because if we do, when we try to sell it, somebody wants that clear title, we're not going to be able to provide it. And also if anyone wants to sue us for things that happened when somebody else owned the property that we didn't know about because we didn't have the title researched properly, then we would be liable, and nobody wants that.
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating. And so, you're following the bouncing ball, and sometimes it's going back two or three buys ago, and you're going, well, why didn't anyone catch this? And again, at some point, these banks are closed. They're out of business. They merged with three other banks since then. There's nobody at this bank. You're as an attorney just trying to figure out, okay, they merged with so and so, who merged with so and then this bank went defunct. And so you're trying to figure that out. And so at some point, one of the people go, I'll just do an indemnification. I don't want to have to worry about it. Well, great. Now, guess what? When somebody else is selling 10 years later, I now have that responsibility because my client is exactly what you were saying. Do you want to take on a lawsuit? Do you want to take on the unknown? What if you don't have marketable title? Who wants that headache? So why not get it cleared up right then and there rather than waiting?
And it's a great point because the longer you wait, the more research and the more lost it gets. I mean, I thought they were not going to find this title because I heard them say something about having to look for it in the storage site for the town. And I mean, the process had been going on. They had knocked down the house, they had cleared out land, and they rebuilt a new, bigger house. And, the whole thing has been going on for 6 years. And so I think that the city owned it for a couple of years before that. So we are talking like 8 years ago. And however long those people had the property, who knows if they had the clear title, that was what we were worried about. Luckily, they did find it. So we lucked out, but we thought, oh God, they're just going to be like diving into papers in like endless amounts of boxes, and that's really scary when you're trying to purchase property and make sure you're doing everything by the book.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's one of those things that, I've even had to call in professionals and go, I can't figure this out. I need to have somebody else that's going to help me. And we tag team to get the job done. I can remember it was Christmas time last year, and we were doing a project together, and this property was not going to close. And come hell or high water, the other person I was working with was going over the bank. I was going over the bank at different times. We were talking to the same individual, harassing them enough that we found the right person there that could do the documentation. But it's finding that right person at the bank that can give you that release or that discharge. Because a lot of times that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a discharge of an old mortgage. You're looking for a discharge of a judgment that's been there for 15 years. And so it's not expired yet because somebody bothered to renew it. So you have all of these fluky things that just come up. And certainly auctions are a whole different breed and a lot more title issues that you really have to make sure that you did everything properly and you have all the documents from land court. So again, just another avenue, another resource that we have to figure out who had last had title, what was their title, was it clear, and more importantly, when they purchased it, did they have a policy?
That's a lot of questions that you have to answer. And I'm just wondering, when you buy the property, is that the time to kind of save a copy of it yourself? I mean, I've never seen a title, but have I? Do we usually sign on those?
You
No.
don't see the title, you get the title insurance.
You get the title insurance. So you have a copy of your title insurance, and you just got to hope that whoever's holding the title is doing the right thing with it.
Yes, except nobody's ever read the title policy, ever.
So just trying to avoid these situations. I mean, I think half of what we talk about is how to avoid the mistakes from happening that are going to cause a lot of headaches and money and time later on. What would you suggest people do both when they're buying a home and when they're selling a home?
It's obviously going to be the same, just different times. So first and foremost, you're going to get title exam done, which is just what is on the property. Are there easements? And easements are usually, you know, telephone lines underground or above ground or gas lines or whatever. Okay, great. We know we have to deal with them. Most likely, if you're living in a city, you're going to have to deal with those things. Do you have other easements? Are there water easements or right-of-way passages that you're going to have? Does somebody get to drive and over your driveway or different things of that nature? Those are things that you need to look out for. But again, if you get a title policy, it's going to say all of those things. The reality is nobody's ever looked at it other than the attorneys, and hopefully your attorney has actually read it, because that's a key point. I need to know, are there mortgages that haven't been discharged? Are there other things on there? Because the easements we know about. Most likely you know about and you're going to be okay with it. It's the unknowns. There's a lien, there's a judgment, there's a foreclosure, there's something else on this property that doesn't have a discharge. So you're going to have a mortgage, discharge, lien, discharge, execution, discharge. If you notice, we keep saying the same thing. You're going to have one of those for each and everything that you're doing. And so you need to match them up as, do I have something that's encumbering the property? Do I have a discharge? Do those books and pages match up with one another? Because that's something else that people do. Well, I gave you a discharge. Yeah, but my mortgage was on page 375 and your discharge is on 935. Those don't match up, which means now we have an encumbrance on the title and we need to get it corrected. And sometimes it's just a corrective discharge because somebody did put a typo in there, but we need to figure that out.
Wow, that's really complicated. And that is why you hire Nicole. I mean, because if you're in the Worcester area or Massachusetts in general, she and her team are phenomenal. They're organized. They go to court every single day and handle these types of issues. And they'll give you the real deal. They'll tell you whether something's worth it or not, and what is the process that you have to do. And you know, the fact is if you're not in this industry, if you're not a real estate attorney, and even if you are sometimes in that industry, not everyone knows everything. And it's better to have someone that can tell you the order that things should go to get things done, to get the result, which is hopefully you getting to close on your house because you have a clean title.
Absolutely. And again, if nothing else, you get the title insurance policy. And what that does is say, hey, I guarantee, that's a policy it's talking, that this title is clear. If it's not clear, and I come out of the woodwork and I say, what are you talking about? I have a lien on the property. You guys didn't have it discharged. Basically, the title company is going to come in and defend against me and will pay me off so that I go away. And that's the joy of title insurance. You have the protection and you have the backing of a title company who's going to make sure that that debt goes away and that you're not going to lose the property. Without it, I can tell you, I've done it 3 times in 20 years, and each time it's cost my client well over 60 to $80,000 each time because they didn't bother to get that title insurance policy.
Well, that's a lot of money. And that's why you hire an expert, no matter how expensive you think it is. And it's not even always that expensive. Cutting costs when it comes to an attorney and finding out what you need to know, it can save you, like you said, 60 to $80,000 in this one little piece of the puzzle when it comes to closing on a house.
Absolutely. And a title policy is usually $4 per thousand. So realistically, you're paying, 1,500 to $3,000 for that peace of mind. And to me, that is the best peace of mind you can get.
Absolutely, because if there's one thing that you know for sure in life is that things are uncertain, and if surprises can't happen, they will happen.
Yes, and unfortunately, in my line of work, I see the bad parts.
Right. Well, we don't need you until something bad happens. Although that's not really true because we can get you and assure things are done correctly so that the bad things don't happen. And that's the beauty of having an attorney that knows what they're doing and and having someone like myself who knows nothing about uh, real estate law. I mean, I know I've bought a few properties in my life. I know a little bit, but I certainly also don't know what all the changes are since the last time I owned a house 10 years ago is when I bought this house, and that is the last thing I know. So I know that there's things that change all the time, and you're able to keep up with that, and that's really priceless.
And that's my goal is to help people in ways that they don't think that they even need us.
And how many times do you get people that are like, there's an aha moment?
Absolutely. It is definitely a light bulb moment. They're like, oh, that makes complete sense now. And sometimes I just have to explain it in a different way because, we all understand that we need car insurance. Yeah, whatever. The insurance companies are making $1 million off of us each year. But again, unfortunately, people do die in car accidents. It's pretty much the same thing in the title world. You could lose your house, not lose your life, but you can lose your house because you didn't get the title insurance.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate your coming on today. Is there anything else that we missed? I know it was kind of just a general discussion because I had a nightmare happen to me, but it's not all about me.
No, I think it's just, there are attorneys out there that take shortcuts that are happy to do an indemnification. It doesn't solve the problem. Ask your attorney what they're doing. Ask to see what the title says. Read it for yourself. You may not understand it, but you're certainly going to understand mortgage. You know, why is it there? Encumbrances. You're going to understand those words, and when you see them, question it. Don't just go, okay.
That makes sense. So if anyone has a question and they're in the process of buying or selling a home, absolutely give Nicole and her team a call. Obviously, they know a lot. Fantastic team. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And thank you so much, Nicole, for gracing us with your presence and knowledge every week. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Goodbye, everybody.